The 6th of June, Rabbi Fabian substituting for Rabbi Levitt, Sefer Chofetz Chaim.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alan. I'm on page 254 in volume 1.
Okay.
254. Wow. Can you show me what I just want to see the text. Can you put it up to the Chofetz Chaim Hilchos Lashon Hara v'kol ze afilu im tiz im sipur haya al ish beinoni drachav yizaher. Wow. Clause 6. Clause 6 it says? Okay.
Yeah, clause 6.
Okay. Calls and it says here olive. The calls shekasvu b'mispar yechide. Let's see here. Something's. Oh, maybe it's called olive, call base. Here, call dalid. You're in call ches.
Yes.
Oh, fine. That's way into the Sefer. Klal ches. Okay, here we are. Hilchos Lashon Hara Klal ches. The Klal ches. Zeh Yavar Isser Sipur Lashon Hara B'chol Inyani Arba Sar Sifim.
What we're doing. Which one are we doing, Lo?
We're on page 254, volume 1.
Volume 1, 254. Okay, excellent.
Get that new book out there.
Oh, I just cracked the binding.
Shalom. Now, in the beginning, let me ask you a question. In the beginning of Klal Ches, you're in the middle of Klal Ches, I think. I just want to make sure I find the place. Just want to, because it says here in mine, Hilchos Lashon Hara Klal Ches Makor Chaim Klal Ze Yavar Ister Sipur Lashon Hara B'chol Inyanim B'arba Sar Sifim. Is that where you're at?
No.
Where it says, judging a God-fearing person is the main subject.
No, there's a ches, but it's klal vav.
Oh, Klal Vav. Let me go back to Klal Vav.
I'm a little confused about what the ches signifies, but we're in klal vav.
Right, I see that. Klal Vav. That's what I was wondering. I saw that. Okay, fine. Let me turn to Klal Vav.
And then under klal vav, we're in section ches.
Okay. Well, I think I figured out what's going on here. Vav. I'm in Vav. Vav Zion. Vav Tes. Where is Vav Tes? Oh, here it is. Fine.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, we struck gold, as they say.
Hooray.
Okay.
Now let me warn you something. The Zoom that I have is the free version, which only lasts for 40 minutes.
Oh, I was wondering about that. I knew that they had some kind of limitation on the time.
Yeah. So what we can do is we can restart it, but it makes you wait 5 minutes.
Oh, I see.
So when we end, it'll put up a little notice on the top that says you're running out of time, and then it just cuts you off. And then we can wait 5 minutes and we can come back in again. Same.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I guess we'll go with that because I understand there's
Also,
this here.
another administrative thing is, I'm going on vacation next week. The Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, I will not be here. So we have to figure out how we're gonna do Zoom when I'm not here.
Oh, okay, fine. So it could be I could figure out. I saw that if I know I saw how to go into it. I just didn't. I didn't know any kind of codes or anything. But we'll see. Maybe we'll talk about that before. Also, Erev Shabbos. At this point, I have some kind of I have a sitter party for my grandson. So Erev Shabbos in the morning, I won't be able to give shir. At this point, it's something I might have. I'm not sure about next week. Some kind of medical issue or something. One day, I'll have to see. I'm trying to reschedule. So in terms of Erev Shabbos, though, at the moment, there won't be shir unless I can figure out how to get reception over by the Kaisel or something.
Right.
Like after I might be done with what goes on over there, but I won't have necessarily. I have to ask my son if they have reception over there, or if they have Wi-Fi over there, and I can set up over there somehow.
Right.
I'm not sure. Okay, let's try to use the time though. Okay.
It's in Windsor.
So we're holding by Hilchos Lashon Hora Klal Vav paragraph Ches Kol Zeh Afilu Im Hasipur Hayit. Now, am I supposed to read or you guys take turns reading? What are we doing over here?
Usually take turns reading.
Okay, so why don't you do that then? Why don't we whatever have a rotation here? Why don't you start out? We have 3 people here?
Yeah.
Right now there's 4.
Well, if we
Well-
can't do, we have 4.
Right. Okay, fine. With three
Some
students and
people
one
say
rabbi.
rabbis are people.
Right, rabbis are people too. We have to have a little sticker. Rabbis are people too. Okay,
By the way, thank
Fine.
you, Rabbi, for agreeing to help us.
my pleasure. It's been a number of years now. We haven't since Corona came in. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we have here Lou, Mayor, and Alan. Okay, so Lou, why don't you start out reading, and then we'll go Mayor and Alan.
V'chol zeh afilu im hasipur haya al ish benoni. Okay, so in all of this, the afilu, even with the telling of a person, Benoni is an in-between person.
Benoni in this particular case means a person of medium, like some type of median person versus a person on a higher level. It's talking about standards of people, meaning maybe person who's probably Dr. Lazar. He says here, it comes in the next words to explain who's a Benoni. It's in the aspect of watching his language, he's an average person versus like he's a Chofetz Chaim who was not a Benoni, he was a Tzaddik Yesod Olam. Or versus somebody who's a regular Lashon Hora speaker. We're talking about someone who's a median person, meaning he, Asher Darko Lazar Minachet. His way is to watch out from doing sins, but every once in a while he makes mistakes, as we'll say in the next words of the text.
Okay. Asher Darko Lizaher mean Achet. That his way is to be careful regarding sin. Upamim yibashel bo. But sometimes yikashel, he stumbles in it.
Right.
V'chol shekain, and all the more im hasipur, if he tells haya al ish, if he tells something or says something about a person, yarei Elohim, Hashem sees.
No.
You're right. Fear. He's
A
got
God-fearing person.
he
God-fearing
says
person.
something about a God-fearing person. She'alav sheyad shayach yoter mitzvos asay. Then regarding him, it is a positive commandment. The tzedek tishpot amisecha. That quote, with righteous you will judge your friend, amisecha, your friend.
I know. So this is what this is. Let me explain, because it comes a little bit. But for example, we said rabbis are people too. So the only difference is that what happens if you would speak less, if someone would speak lashon hara about the rabbi, so they would have a bigger problem than if they would speak lashon hara about, assuming that the rabbi is a Yireh Shamayim. Hopefully
Right.
he is. So that's a person has special. There's special rules. In other words, you have to be more careful when you're talking about a person who, if a person is a Yireh Shamayim, then there's more, the carefulness of the speaker is he's expected to be on higher guard. So that's what he's saying here. Kol shekain im hasipur haya al ish Yireh Shamayim sha'alav shayach, that regarding him yoter mitzvahs aseh, there's more positive commandments warning against speaking lashon hara. So a person who actually does speak in lashon hara on a person who's a Yireh Shamayim is over on more averas, more positive commandments, because he's about to explain called tzedek tishpot amisecha. Okay, continue. Let's try to get a stopping place, and we'll go to the next person.
Okay, should I read the parentheses?
You can read, yes, the parentheses.
Kamivo ar Barambam Perek Aleph de Avos uve sha'arei teshuvah the Rabbeinu Yonah the Mar Resh Yud Chet. So
That's just the source of this mitzvah that he's talking about. But tzedek tishpot amisecha.
Right. It's just right. The citation. Okay. Vahu over al zeh v'dan oso lechaf chov. And if he violates this, and he is judged on it, l'chaf chov, I don't know, favorably.
No, Lekaf Chov, meaning the opposite of favor. Lekaf Skus is favorably. The Kaf Chov is he judges this Yira Shemayim on the negative side, even though he's supposed to be. There's in other words, there is a mitzvah of regarding a Yira Shemayim, but Tzedek Tishbot Amisecha. You're supposed to judge righteously, assuming you don't know what's going on. Assume when you see the Yira Shemayim walk into a treif restaurant, he's going for a bathroom or a cup of water, or maybe a cup of coffee that's plain, whatever, or something, or he's sick and he needs something for, some reason, of an urgency. You have to judge him favorably, even though it doesn't look necessarily like the best thing, that he's walking in a restaurant or a place where normally a Yira Shemayim wouldn't go to. So your mitzvah is to judge him favorably, not to judge him as like a regular person would say, this person obviously has fallen to his lashon, his yetzer hara or something, because maybe the situation would imply such a thing. Because there's this, that's what we call him. He's done the kaf chov. He's judging him to non-favorably, instead of like he's supposed to, but tzedek tishbot amisecha, judge him favorably, especially because he's a Yira Shemayim.
Right.
Okay. Let's get a few more words in.
Maskir the hamisaper big new so bivadai o there al isur kabbalas lashon hara, and he concurs with the statement that's
right. The Sefer is the one telling the story. Umaskim, and he's agreeable to the one telling the story. Genuso, right? Go ahead with his. You want to continue?
Beganusa with the derogatory statement. Certainly, he violates the prohibition of accepting lashon hara.
Right, which is actually more strict than if my memory serves me correctly, that receiving lashon hara is actually a worse aveira than speaking lashon hara.
Really?
Right. Don't know why, I can't remember, but that's what I have in my memory. It was rather shocking when I first heard it, because it seems like it's one of the things that's very difficult, because we have in this week's parsha, this is one of the big parshas of Shmiras HaLashon. It's the parsha Shlach,
Right.
and this is where the Meraglim go in. Now it's a kind of a interesting. We call it. They call it, as a yeshiva term called the sushtel, that we connect two ideas. So in the previous parsha last week, we had Miriam, the story of Miriam and Aaron, which is also one of the famous stories about Shmiras HaLashon. Miriam was judged as a person who spoke lashon hara to Aaron regarding, and Aaron accepted the lashon hara. Now Miriam got judged more strictly, so maybe that Kabbalah's lashon hara. Aaron was judged. Miriam received the oynesh, as we know. She received saras, and the whole Klal Yisrael, and she had to sit with her saras outside of the Klal Yisrael for 7 days, and then she was allowed. She got better. Moshe davened for her. She got better, and they came back. That was meant to be also a warning for, like, hey guys, speaking about Moshe Rabbeinu isn't the greatest thing. See what happened to his sister, who was one of the greatest people one of the greatest women in the history of the Jewish people, right? Everyone understood. She saved Moshe Rabbeinu's life. She was a Neviah. She was one of the 7 women who were listed in the Gemara as Nevi'im. So at the same time, when she spoke against, and all she did was she actually meant it. She meant it for beneficial reasons, right? What did she was saying? She thought Moshe made a mistake. He was separate. He had separated from his wife. He apparently Miriam had heard when in the parsha, Medad and Eldad received nevuah, and they were in the machana, they were in the camp, and Zipporah, Moshe's wife, made a comment. Oh, I feel so bad for their wives, because now they're not going to have the husbands. They're going to be separated, have to separate from their husbands, because that's what Zipporah didn't know, that it was not all Nevi'im it was only Moshe Rabbeinu who separated from his wife, and that wasn't something that was regular for other Nevi'im. She didn't know that, Zipporah, so she made a comment to herself or something, and Miriam, unless Miriam understood it through Nevuah because she was a Neviah, so she went and she thought Moshe was making a mistake, and what she should have done is gone to Moshe Rabbeinu and talked to him about it. But what she did instead was she spoke to Aaron, and Aaron concurred with Miriam and accepted the Lashon Hara. And then what happened was she got Saras, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu had a meeting with all of them, called them in, and basically told them and explained to them that you don't speak about Moshe Rabbeinu. He has a different level of nevuah than you have. He speaks panim el panim. But then the next parsha was, there was a point there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was doing a chesed for Klal Yisrael, because the Meraglim were given like a little bit of a warning that they were supposed to pay attention and listen to Moshe Rabbeinu. And so what happened in the next parsha was, of course, the famous parsha of this week, which is the Meraglim. So we're here learning about Lashon Hara, and we have two parshas, which are two of the foundation parshas, last week's and this week's, which are giving the basic lessons of the strictness and seriousness, how Klal Yisrael, because of the Lashon Hara of the Meraglim all died a very not nice death, or immediately, just about. And the rest of Klal Yisrael suffered from recabling the Lashon Hara. They had to stay in the Midbar for 40 years before we went into Eretz Yisrael, and they all died as well. All
Why
the people
is it-
then.
Why is it that the Meraglim didn't get Saras?
Why didn't they get Saras? I think that was I'm not sure, but just off my initial instincts, I think that Saras, from what we see from history, is a high level of it's a punishment for a person on a high level. And they were, because they were, what they did was they caused the whole Klal Yisrael to suffer, and caused the Klal Yisrael not to go into Eretz Yisrael. And they spoke Lashon Hara against, actually, it was very interesting. What was their Lashon Hara against? It was against Eretz Yisrael. They didn't speak against a person. They spoke against Eretz Yisrael. For speaking against Eretz Yisrael, they received the punishment of their tongues getting elongated, and whatever, a whole terrible death they got there. And they were great people. They weren't simple people. It says they were anoshim. Anyway, maybe any other questions? Otherwise, maybe we'll continue with Meir starting to read. Okay.
So we're going to Tet now, 9.
Right.
Okay. Oh, let me just plug myself in here.
Are you, by the way, are you reading there's a parish I have. I'm not sure whether there's footnotes, and there's a parish. There was a very long footnote on what we just read. I don't know if you're reading these or just staying to the text to keep things moving a little bit. What we've
been not reading the footnotes and the what they call the Haggaha, unless there's an issue that comes up.
Okay.
The last time we were learning with Rabbi Levitt, we did actually read one of these because we had a question about what we were learning, and we actually spent a long time digressing. But only if we have an issue or a problem or a question that we need to delve into do we read them.
Okay, fine. So let's go on to Tess, I mean.
Okay, so it says, let's see, B'Shem Shayach Isur Kabbalat Lashon Hara. So let's see, it's just as a prohibition to accept Lashon Hara applies. Amisaper Siper Lo Al Echad She'asa Ata Davar Sheino Hagun. Okay, so the speaker tells him that one person now is let's see, Chagun, it says is acted improperly. Okay. So we have one person telling a second person about a third person that he acted improperly. Okay. She needs to.
There's something missing a little bit here. In the
Okay.
Hebrew, what it says is Kashem Sheshayach Isser Kabbalas Lashon Hara. It's like a long take. I mean, it's coming to say that just like this concept applies for one person speaking to another person regarding a third person, it's going to come to say this principle applies in other cases as well. So, okay, why don't you read it inside? Continue.
Okay. Shenitztavinu al zeh shelo lehachlit b'libenu shehadavar emet. Okay, so we're nitztavinu, we're commanded, I guess, that we should not
we're not supposed to lahachlit means to kind of decide. You're not supposed to make
in our heart, yeah.
Right, shadavar emes. In other words, how do you? One of the difficulties when you hear someone speak about somebody else, which is not uncommon, unfortunately, is how if you're not supposed to, it's a serious issur to receive lashon hara. What are you supposed to do?
Close your ears and walk away.
Right. So what if you're in a car? Okay.
Well, you can
or
change
you're on
the
a
subject,
plane, whatever.
maybe.
Right. So that's a good one. But one of the things that you can do is in your mind, you can look at it and that's what he's saying here, not become that, not accept it, not, you say to yourself, look at, something like there's a lot more things going on here. Maybe this guy's got an axe to grind. Maybe there's some other factors that aren't being included here. What you tell yourself. In other words, this is not the whole picture here. I know, you guys, everybody here is not, nobody here is 18 years old, whatever, or 10 years old. We understand that life has more pictures in it after time than is what's on the surface, right? Anybody who's been around understands that there's more to things than meets the eye, right? And so this is one of the basic ideas that what we need to do to ingrain in ourselves is that when we hear somebody or some source, whether it's any form of source speaking regarding a person or a group of people, whatever it is, we need to try to tell ourselves there's more to, and it's something negative, because the general idea is what is Lashon Hara? One of the most important things to try to get a handle on Shmiras HaLashon is to understand the basic idea. In other words, what was wrong? What was wrong with what Miriam did regarding Moshe Rabbeinu? What was wrong and what should she have done? She thought she didn't have anything. Moshe Rabbeinu was her brother who she loved, who she saved his life. She didn't mean anything negative about it, right? So what was wrong? I mean, we want to understand the whole concept of Shmiras HaLashon, we need to understand something very basic. So Hashem said to Miriam that what you're doing, Hashem called Miriam and Aaron the Derech Nevuah, and they called to the oil moed or something with Moshe, and she said, you're not like Moshe. He receives Nevuah at any given time. You're judging him mistakenly. You think he's like, okay? And you're judging him according to your angle of Nevuah, because they were both Nevi'im. Aaron was one of the seven shepherds of the Jewish people, one of the seven greatest people in the Jewish people. And Miriam was one of the seven women Nevi'im listed in the Gemara. They were Nevi'im from the very, very highest level. But Moshe was on a much, much higher level than them, and that was their mistake. They didn't understand his level, and they were judging him according to their understanding, their level. That was their mistake, and Hashem told them, right? Hashem told them that, yeah. So this is the idea that whenever we're hearing something about either another person or other people, right? Sometimes it's very obvious it's Lashon Hara. Sometimes in the case of Moshe, she thought she was doing something. She thought Moshe's making a mistake, right? She meant well. Moshe's making a mistake. He separated from his wife, incorrectly. And instead of, and her mistake actually was, besides not appreciating who Moshe was on a different level, she should have gone to Moshe directly, right? In other words, if a person has a problem, she thought, now even in the rules of Lashon Hara, there is a time when you're allowed to go to a third party. For example, if someone says, there's two people have a Rebbe, and one thinks the other one's doing something wrong, he goes to the Rebbe and says, Rebbe, the other guy, who's your student also, is doing something wrong. The reason why he does that is because he feels that if he'll speak with him, he won't listen to him, but he'll listen to the Rebbe. So that there's a Tuelis to that, and there's a purpose, and that there's a reason. So it's a little bit of a tough call sometimes, what really people should do, more normally speaking, if possible, is try to go to the person themselves if they have some correcting issue, or if for some reason, and if they've tried that and it didn't work and they feel it's something important, whatever, so they can go to somebody who has the ability to influence the person. But normally speaking, the main point is that Lashon Hara means saying something to what we would call that will put a negative light on another person, something derogatory, right? Korach spoke Lashon Hara about Moshe. He was speaking Lashon Hara. Moshe, the thing he's making Lashon Hara to try to lower Moshe's standing in Klal Yisrael, right? He thought, Ilu Moshe was giving this over in his own. This was Moshe's. This is something from Moshe Rabbeinu, not from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, continue with the Siman.
Okay, it says the canal of the Sefer, so it was explained up above in Sefer 1. Let's see. Cain Shayach gam isur kabbalat lashon hara. So it's there's it's what appropriate shayach. Also
Relevant.
it's relevant. Okay. This prohibition of accepting lashon hara. Okay, inyan she'ar chelkei isur lashon hara she've'anu la'ayil. Okay, so the matters of other types of as we explained up above.
Right, okay. Maybe we'll go over to Alan because our time is running out. Let's have it.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, actually, it's less than 1 minute, so we should stop now and then come back in.
Okay, so when we come back in, Alan, we'll continue the reading.
Okay, very good.
See everyone in a few minutes. We get a minute.
You have to wait a minute. Okay.
5